Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. My name is Neo. In this video, I am finally working on myself. It's been just like 2 days and I couldn't deal with not having anything on my nails. So we are doing something completely different. We're going to be doing a polygel set on my non-dominant hand, on my dominant hand using my non-dominant hand. So it's a double whammy. It's gonna come out good. First thing is I'm going to be using the Macart Clear Polygel. I'm using a Macart Extension Gel, so it's not necessarily polygel, it's more of like a builder gel in between like a poly and a soft gel. And then I'm going to be using this base color from Candy Lover. It's a brand that I originally started using when I first started doing nails on Amazon. It's like a small distributor, but I love that color that I just placed down on my palette. I'm going to be mixing that Candy Lover color with this Macart Extension Gel. And note to you, if you are going to be using polygels, just put the tubes in like warm water so that you're not squeezing for your life. I was squeezing so hard because these had been sitting around for the better part of a year. But I wanted a nice nude base that I knew would fit well. At this point, I had decided to use dual forms, so that's what you see on the table. I had already gone and sized them up, but I ended up not using dual forms. I ended up using tips and just building straight away on my nail because, you know, I just didn't want to deal. So I'm using an orange wood stick and I am just going to be mashing these two products together. Remember, one is a polygel, so it's very, very thick and stiff, and one is an extension gel, which is kind of like the soft builder gel from Macart. And blending them together, I'm just getting this really gorgeous custom color that will work really great for my skin tone. I'm going to go back in with the darker, it's like a nude brown. It's called Foundation Brown from Candy Lover. I will link it below. It's on Amazon and it's like the most gorgeous nude. I just think, for me, it's just beautiful. Beautiful, lovely, pinky kind of brown. So I'm just gonna spend some time and mix that up on my palette. When you mix the two products together, it does make it more of a smoother kind of soft gel consistency that self-levels, which is helpful. So yep, just making sure to get the products completely blended and adding a bit more brown. So yeah, I'm just mixing up this color combo that is custom to myself. That's one thing that's really great about polygel, is that you can mix it, you know, however you want. You can do the same with acrylics, but you can't really see what the acrylic is going to look like until you add your monomer and kind of swatch. But polygel, this is what you're going to get. So a few days ago, I had gone in and actually soaked off all of my nails. So I am bare. It's been rough, a few rough days, and I clip my nails down. I don't really care about my nails growing out long. So I'm just going in really quickly with a file and smoothing out the free edge because I will be applying tips to these nails. I'm gonna go in with my diamond bit first, my needle bit, and kind of clean up the cuticle area. I personally have really thick, tough cuticles that grow onto my nail plate, so it is imperative that I take some time to prep my nails, not just with buffing the natural nail or filing, but just to get these cuticles up and off the nail. You want a nice smooth application, and I don't want any cause for lifting prematurely, so I'm going to do that in both the forward and reverse direction. And I'm using my e-file at a fairly slow speed. I am now using the Coupa Me file. I'm enjoying it. It is different, but I'm getting used to it. So like I mentioned, I was thinking about doing dual forms at the beginning of this whole process, but I ended up just using my favorite tips. These are the one-step Coffin tips from the two guys, and they are exactly what they sound like. You clip off the tip of the stiletto and you have a perfect coffin. I prefer more of a tapered square shape, so I clip down a little bit more, but it gives me the perfect shape. So I'm just sizing myself up, and then I'm going to be applying these tips, making sure that we don't have any air bubbles and that we have good adhesion and that they're straight, because I have some crooked fingers, like my pointer finger, you can see my ring finger does a little dip to the left. So in order to get a straight tip, I like to look at the knuckles of the finger versus the fingertip, because the fingertip often does a little dance, you know? So I'm looking at my knuckles and just lining the tip up in line with my knuckles, making sure that the tip fits sidewall to sidewall, and then adding glue as necessary so that we fill the area underneath the tip so that we get a good adhesion. After that, I'm just gonna clip the nails down and get them ready, blend them, and then we'll be good to begin this process. So looking back at my nail journey, it's only been about a year at this point of actually doing nails. I started off using Polygel. Acrylic was just really intimidating to me, and Polygel was simple. It didn't have, you know, any odor, and I could do it pretty much anywhere. So it's been a really long time since I've actually used Polygel. Once I started working with acrylics, I just kind of ran with it. But I've always been a fan of Polygel. So I'm actually using these tiny McCart base and top coats that I received when I used to purchase all of those McCart Polygel packs. They had the pink one, the blue one, the purple one, the mint green one. I have all of them. I was such a Polygel lover. Maybe I'll get back into that. I'll start using Polygel again. But after prepping, I used the Après Gel prep system. It's a dehydrator and an acid-free primer. And I figured I'd use that over my Mia Secret because it's specifically formulated for gel products. And because we're using Polygel and not acrylic, I just wanted to make sure everything would be good and prepped. So I'm going in with this McCart base coat because we are going to be applying Polygel and we want a nice adhesion from my nail to the product. So I'm being very careful applying that base all the way to the end of the tip. You don't have to apply it to the end of the tip, but I'm doing that. I'm also taking care to clean my sidewalls and my cuticle area in case I flood with this gel. I do not want product to be on the skin. Again, that will make it susceptible to lifting and a product breakdown. You might get like moisture underneath that area. So I'm just being really careful after every nail, just kind of cleaning up with my other hand. And remember, I'm using my non-dominant hand. So this video is a doozy. For one, I'm using Polygel, and two, I'm using my left hand and I'm not left-handed. So it actually wasn't that bad, actually. Now that I think about it, it took a long time, but it wasn't as stressful as, you know, it's been in the past using acrylics. Once I'm done applying this base coat, I am going to cure for a full 30 seconds and we're gonna get ready. So the slip solution that I'm using is the slip that comes with that purple Polygel set. I'm just gonna pour some out into the cover of the bottle and get ready to go. So the application tool that I'm using actually came with that candy lover set. So this is not the one from McCart. I eventually switched to it, but when I started off, I was using this one just because it was like closest to me. So I'm using the picker and I'm just applying a big dab to the center of my nail towards the free edge of my natural nail. And then I'm going to be using that slip solution, tapping it on my napkin, making sure that you don't have too much slip because it will break down the product, and then just massaging the product around. So I'm trying to focus on keeping majority of the product in the middle of the nail, the same thing that I would do with acrylic, but because I am going to be encapsulating with clear Polygel, I am not building up so much for structure. I'm focusing more on coverage. I wanted this beautiful color. It's great for me, and I'm just making sure to cover up the natural nail, that free edge, and then the entire length of that tip. In the beginning, it took me some time. By the pinky, I kind of got it down. So it took me 4 fingers to figure this out, just to get used to it. Don't forget, I am using my left hand as well. But when I was doing this, I decided, you know what, let's just use the McCart application tool, the application brush. It's just a little bit stiffer, and I felt like I could massage the product down a little bit better. Sorry in advance, my camera broke. It didn't break, it died. So I actually went in and completed that first thumb finger, and I was using this little LED torch to kind of help me out in the process. So that finger is completely done. I buffed and filed it, shaped it up. So we're just going to be doing that on the rest of the fingers, but you will be along for this process. So I applied a big dab to the center of my nail. I am pushing it towards the cuticle area, making sure not to get it up on the skin, but just, you know, close enough. And then towards the sidewalls, I'm going for coverage, not necessarily structure at this point, making sure that we have a beautiful coverage over the entire nail. And yeah, I kind of reckon this to like applying acrylic that just never sets. That's what I was kind of thinking of. That's like super sticky and it just never sets. So it was kind of nice. I was trying to use the same techniques that I would with acrylic. It doesn't always work, but it's really great, this polygel. One, there's no odor. And two, you have all the time in the world. Like, you're gonna see I go back, I'm gonna add more product, I'm gonna move things around. There's no way you could do this with acrylic. And it was just kind of nice. It was really nostalgic for me because I haven't used polygel in a long time. So halfway through, I'm going to flash cure with the little torch that I have. I got those on Amazon. I think it was like 4 in a pack of like $13. They're really, really helpful, especially if you're doing like gel X tips on people. We all know how difficult it is to kind of hold the gel X tip, like an apres tip or like a dupe, and put your hand in the lamp without making it wobbly, and then your finger comes out and the nail's going to the left. So the little flashlight, the LED flashlight, is very helpful. So I gave myself a quick semi-cure, and then I'm going in with more polygel and just building up a little bit more coverage wherever I need it. Once I'm happy with the coverage, I'm going to use my finger and clean those sidewalls, and then I'm going to cure for a full 30 seconds. The product is on, it is lovely, and we are going flames today. So I have these iridescent flame stickers that I got from Amazon. It came 2 in a pack, not 2 sheets, but like 2 packs of sheets in a pack, and each has like 15 sheets. So I have like 30 sheets of flames. I don't know what I'm gonna do with all of them, and they all come in these iridescent different colors. I chose this white opal color. It didn't look like white opal afterwards. It looks like this beautiful kind of rose gold reflective. And you can see that there. I used some base coat over the sticker just to kind of get it to stick down, also to help the clear polygel stick to the top of that sticker when I'm encapsulating. As you saw, I just squeezed out that Macart clear polygel on the nail, and now I'm building up structure. So first thing I'm doing is spreading the polygel from side to side, making sure that we have enough product to kind of cover the whole nail. Then I'm going to push it back towards the cuticle area, making it really thin around there and on the sidewalls. And then I'm going to build up structure over the middle of the nail, forming that apex, and then down the length of the nail towards the tip. And like I mentioned before, the thing that's really cool about this is that you have all the time in the world. If I was using acrylic, I would have to do multiple beads and, you know, be careful about where the beads were setting. But with this, you could take an hour if you really wanted to perfect the shape of your nail. So I was just taking my time, and because I'm not using my dominant hand, it was just a little bit more difficult, but I'm just making sure to focus on getting the flame completely encapsulated in that clear polygel. Some of the nails, like the tip of the flame, didn't lay completely flat, or it was in an area where I was having, or where I wanted the polygel to be thin. So you can see a tiny piece of the sticker sticking out, but it totally didn't matter in the end. And then with the excess product, I'm just going to do exactly what I do with acrylic. I'm gonna pat it over that free edge and then pull off the excess, and then we have a beautiful shape. So I'm gonna cure, and then I'm gonna use a lint-free wipe because polygel is sticky AF, and I'm going to clean it off. And now we have a nice structured nail, and we're gonna repeat that 3 more times. So I'm not gonna talk you through it. I did it the first time, and you can basically just watch me work it out on these last 3 fingers. So for this pinky, I was not gonna lie, I was kind of over it. At this point, it had been about an hour. So I don't know what happened, but I kind of went into it just applying it kind of like I would acrylic, a one bead application. So as you saw, I got that huge dollop of polygel on my brush. I placed it right at the cuticle, and now I'm just gonna work it down the length of the nail. And when I was doing this, I was kind of like, why didn't I do this in the first place? Like, this was so easy. As you can see, I'm just massaging the product down, and I've already gotten the good coverage over that cuticle and sidewall area. Just look how simple this is. So if you are working with polygel and or like an extender gel, just do that. You know, I was just kind of like, well, that was simple compared to doing what I was doing before, but it's the same process. I'm applying the polygel, cure, add the sticker, base coat, cure again to lock in that sticker, and then a coat of the clear polygel by Macart as well. So here we are with these nails. I'm super happy. Make sure you clean your nails off with some alcohol before you go into file. Polygel does leave a sticky layer over the nails after they cure, so you don't want to like gum up your file. So I'm just using a medium grit hand file, and we're gonna be hand filing this entire set. One thing about polygel is you do get a beautiful extension, but they are not as tough as acrylic, so you don't need crazy amounts of power to file and shape these nails. And I feel like I did a pretty good job in keeping the shape that we wanted with the tips, so I'm just using this hand file to completely shape and file the surface of the nails, and then I'm gonna buff afterwards. I don't have the full video of me filing just because my hands were like totally out of frame, and you kind of get the point. Just using my hand to kind of surface file, and basically what I'm doing is keep filing until I have a solid coat of like dust. If I see any non-dusty areas, that means that there's a lump or a bump on the nail, and I'm just going to smooth out the surface. I'm also getting it up into the cuticle and sidewall areas just to make sure that there's no product touching the skin, and then just making sure that the free edge looks like I want it to, nice and square. And to make sure that I did a beautiful job with the filing, I'm going in with this buffing block, and I am buffing. I'm pressing really hard and rubbing really hard with this buffer to just make sure that the nails are completely smooth. And here is what those nails are looking like after filing and buffing. You can kind of see the stickers. They were an opal white, but we're gonna snap for magic. Here we are, we're clean, and it's just really beautiful. At this point, I was like loving the color. It's nice and sheer. You can see the flames, you know, doing their thing underneath that clear acrylic polygel, but I wanted a tiny tiny bit of bling. So I got my bling box out and my Zule bling adhesive. We're adding one medium-sized rhinestone. I think I changed my mind because I wanted a smaller rhinestone. So I'm adding a small rhinestone to the cuticle area of each of the nails, and then we're going to move on to the next step. So at this point, I didn't know if I wanted these nails to be glossy or matte. As you know, if you watch my videos, I love a matte nail, and if you see the thumbnail, you know that I ended up going matte. But something that I do if I can't, be sure what I'm gonna do is I apply a base coat. Base coat will give me an idea of what these nails will look like being glossy, and then I can decide from there. Also, the benefit of using a base coat before a matte top coat is that if you have any scratches in your nail from your filing, you can help to fill in those cracks or scratches with your base coat. It helps to smooth out the surface of the nail so that your matte top coat goes on flawlessly. So I'm using the Beetles base coat, foundation base coat. I'm making sure to be careful around those rhinestones. Not gonna lie, I did get some of that base coat on those rhinestones, but I just use my thumb to kind of wipe off the stones so that we don't cure that gel on top of there. Now I'm going in with my Beetles matte top coat. So I totally decided that I wanted matte nails. I'm going to clean the stone and then cure for a full minute on each of them. So I'm being very careful. I did get that matte top coat on some of the rhinestones, but I'm just gonna go in with a cotton swab or Q-tip, whatever you call it, some alcohol, and I'm going to wipe off each of the rhinestones just so that we get that full brilliance of each stone. I'm gonna cure for a full minute, and then this set is done. Here is what this set ended up looking like. I loved it so much, and I actually took a shot in daylight because it's getting warm out. I'm so happy. The matte just makes it so like subtle, but the flames are just doing something pretty. I don't know, guys. These nails are really doing it for me. And look at the shape. This is all hand filed and all polygel. Apex looking great. Thank you so much for watching. Like this video if you do, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.